Warning: the following podcast contains strong language, mature content, and poorly pronounced Japanese names. You have been warned. Good day, one and all, and to one and all a good day. My name is Speedy, and welcome to episode 1 of the Speedy Stuff Podcast. For this episode, everything will be a load of scripted gibberish featuring a topic that loads of people have covered before now, only for me to say fuck it and talk about it myself. In today's episode, we shall be discussing something that not a lot of people like to admit to: their guilty pleasures. In this instance, guilty pleasure anime. Now, if you followed my mishaps on my main YouTube channel, shameless plug, link in the description below, you will know that I have discussed anime prior to now, albeit briefly in a vlog. However, as of late, I've been more open about being an anime fan, or otaku. A clear example being that I wore a few anime-related t-shirts while on holiday a few weeks back, something I would never have considered doing in the past unless I was attending a Comic-Con or an anime-con. And having recently rewatched one of my favourite anime, I thought it right to look back and reflect upon some of my guilty pleasure anime. So, I'm going to shut up, only to talk some more. Let's do this thing. Number 10. And number 10, we find a bit of an oddball anime that no one really talks about anymore. Gunslinger Girl. Gunslinger Girl was a manga published originally by Dengeki Daioh and later ASC2 Media Works. While the manga had 15 volumes, the anime adaptation had 13 episodes. The manga entries and anime series follows a group of 5 young girls, all of whom have gone through traumatizing and near-death experiences before being taken into the care of an organization called the Social Welfare Agency. For example, its lead character, Henrietta, bore witness to the assault and murder of her parents before being beaten mercilessly and raped among their corpses. Another character, Angelica, formerly Angelina, was involved in a brutal hit and run after her father penned a large life insurance quote in her name. Her father, desperate for a quick cash grab, then hit Angelina with his Mercedes-Benz. This, for me, was one of the first anime I had watched all the way through, and I loved it from start to finish. The art style used for the animation, well, for the first season anyway, was stunning, and still holds up to this day when being compared to newer anime and their art style. The characters had this beautiful fluidity about them that made you feel connected to them despite how far away and vivid they were meant to be portrayed. If you've seen the anime, you know what I mean by that. There was a second season which, to its credit, was okay for the most part, and the second season even scored a 2-episode OVA. Personally, I would recommend this anime. Its brilliant pacing, character development, and art style are 3 of this anime's key points, and you'd be a fool for at least not giving it a try. Moving on. Number 9. At number 9, we have an anime that shouldn't really be an anime according to some, whereas a majority of us, myself included, have argued otherwise. At number 9, it's the Rooster Teeth smash hit, Ruby. Ruby follows the story of 4 girls who are attending Beacon Academy to become huntresses. Along the way, said group of girls, Ruby, Weiss, Blake and Yang, encounter a plethora of colourful characters, such as Team Juniper, made up of Jean, Nora, Pyrrha and Lai Ren, and Team Coffee, compiled of Coco, Fox, Velvet, Best Bunny Girl, and Yatsuhashi. All of these characters are badasses in their own rights, and have been cosplayed umpteen times prior to now at anime conventions, and Rooster Teeth's in-house convention, RTX. From the get-go, Ruby was a viral hit. The Red trailer featuring titular character Ruby Rose has 12.4 million views at the time of recording on the Rooster Teeth YouTube channel, and has just carried on like an out-of-control freight train. So, You can only imagine how everyone felt when a snippet of the trailer for Volume 5 snuck its way into RTX 2017, with a release date of October the 14th, 2017 for Rooster Teeth First members. The rest of us plebs have to wait until it's uploaded to YouTube. Speaking of waiting, actually, when are us Brits going to get Volume 4 of RWBY on DVD and Blu-ray, Rooster Teeth? When is it going to happen? It's only a matter of time, I hope. Number 8. At number 8, we find an anime that was set in picturesque scenery, a financial crisis, and featured a feisty wolf deity. If you've worked out what anime this is, then congratulations, here's a cookie. For everyone else, this is Spice and Wolf. Spice and Wolf started as a light novel penned by Isuna Hasakura and later published by ASC2 Media Works across a plane of 19 novels as of 2006 with Dengeki Bunko. Since 2016, a spin-off titled Wolf and Parchment has been published as a light novel. A manga adaptation was published from 2007 in the seinen manga magazine Dengeki Moa, with an anime adaptation being broadcast from January to March 2008. A second season, simply titled Spice and Wolf 2, broadcast from July to September 2009, with 12 episodes in both seasons. The story revolves a travelling merchant named Kraft Lawrence, and the antics he's dragged into upon finding Holo, a deity of wheat harvesting, sleeping in his cart. Since then, the pair had visited several towns, and, in Holo's case, several of the town's taverns, while encountering a collection of characters, including crooks, business owners, a local shepherdess, and even a pack of bounty hunters looking to get a reward for capturing Holo. This anime's a real good watch, but that's not to say that it's without its flaws. A couple of the side characters met in the anime feel a bit two-dimensional, almost like there was just enough effort to animate them for the adaptation. The pacing also feels on the sluggish side in a few episodes, which, to an extent, is understandable as it builds up to a plot point, however important it is. As a result, however, the exposition feels really uncontrollable, almost as if every other episode is written mainly off of exposition. At the end of it all, though, Spice and Wolf is a feel-good anime with a pair of lead characters that you can really connect with, especially near the end of the second season. Go watch it. You might like it, you might not. Either way, it's a guilty pleasure that I simply adore. I mean, have you seen Holo? How can you say no to that cheeky yet innocent face? Number 7. At number 7 we find another oddball anime that I originally thought was overrated. Yes, it had a lot of hype, but it was the hype that pushed me away from Squid Girl. Squid Girl was a serialized manga penned by Masahiro Anbei and was published between July 2007 and February 2016 by Akita Shoten's Weekly Shonen Champion. An anime adaptation was broadcast between October and December 2010, with the second season being broadcast between September and December 2011. This anime is about saving the environment! No, seriously, it genuinely is. No, wait, don't click away, come back! It's about saving the environment to an extent, at least. The anime follows the antics of our titular character, Squid Girl, coming up from the ocean and vowing revenge on mankind for polluting the sea. What ensues is the exact opposite of what we're all hoping for, which is a sea-based parody of Planet of the Apes. What actually happens in the anime is this. She gets roped into working at the local beach-based food shack, where a variety of hilarious shenanigans occur. I personally haven't finished watching the first season of the anime, and from what I could tell, season 2 isn't available for sale here in the UK, so, you know. Nonetheless, that hasn't stopped me from jumping aboard the Squid Girl fan train. The writing and comedy is on point, the animation is extremely easy and mellow on the eyes, and seeing Squid Girl's face light up in excitement as she learns something new about the human world is a sight in itself to behold. Next anime. Number 6. Okay, so say you walked into an office to pitch this anime to a TV executive. You ready? A pair of dirty-minded angels, a perverted priest, and a key that ends up as some ginger guy's knob. He'd think one of three things. He'd think that you're trying to tell a really awful three-in-a-pub joke, think that you're on some really good shit, or would do the sensible thing of telling you to never approach his company again. Suppose, however, that he turned around and told you that you were a genius and wanted to start work on that show immediately. Well, that's an exaggeration of what happened, and the fruits of the labour was Panty Stocking with Garter Belt, arguably the most raunchy, non-hentai related anime out there. And believe me, it's out there. Like, middle of the sea out there. Panty Stocking with Garter Belt is about a pair of dirty-minded angels, kicked out of heaven due to simply dicking about and pissing off the big JC. What happens after that is a 13-episode anime with explosions that even Michael Bay would applaud, a high school rivalry with demon twins, and an extremely kinky priest who just so happens to follow the biggest priest stereotype ever conceived. There's also something about saving the world in there as well, but let's be honest, we all watched it for Panty Stocking's transformation sequence, or the plot, call it what you wish. Panty Stocking is one of those rare anime, an anime that'll get praised no matter what. And holy shit, it has no problems at all in getting praise. It's also an anime that wasn't adapted from a manga or a light novel. The manga came after the anime in this instance, which is a rarely seen method in the anime industry. The anime was licensed in the US by Funimation, of course, where it received critical acclaim. As a concept though, this anime shouldn't really work, because it's 13 episodes of Panty whoring herself out to a target of 1,000 men, Stocking indulging herself on human sweets and desserts, without a single pound showing on her body, I'm still calling bullshit to this day, and a lot of toilet humour. However, just because it doesn't work in concept doesn't mean it won't work in practice. And work it did, so much so that the animators left the note to be continued next series at the end of the finale, only for said company to go bust. Which sucks because it was the team behind Fooly Cooly, one of the best anime ever. Anyway, just because they went bust didn't stop them releasing a teaser image for season 2. A for effort. It's just a shame the execution didn't pay off in the long run. Onwards! Number 5. Now, I'll be honest here. I struggled putting this together. I honestly did. In fact, I've been cursing myself since I started thinking about it. However, upon reflection, I'm happy with how the list has turned out, so I'll be glad to get it out of the way. That aside, it's time to don a nerve gear and shout at the bedroom ceiling, Link start! At number 5, it's Sword Art Online. Ah yes, Sword Art Online, or SAO for short. We all know it. We've all seen at least one episode of the anime, and we've all seen that one dude who creepily fantasizes about a girl having a bigger sword than he'll ever wield. Double entendres aside, I personally think that SAO is an okay anime for what it is. And what it is an anime about a virtual reality massive multiplayer online role-playing game, or VR MMORPG for short. Yeah, you try remembering that after an anime con pub quiz and knocking a couple back. Anyways, the anime follows the adventures of Kirigaya Kazuto, a beta tester for SAO who decides to visit the finished game on its release date, only to find that the logout function has been disabled, thus trapping himself and an additional 9,999 players in the game itself. It's now a case of do or die in a literal game of life or death, where dying in the game means dying in the real world. Sword Art Online gets its origins from a gentleman named Reki Kawahara, who had originally penned SAO to be an entry in a writing contest run by ASC2 Media Works, which was hosted in 2002, but then scrapped the idea of entering the contest due to exceeding the page limit. Fast forward to 2008, and Kawahara this time enters Excel World into the same writing contest, only to end up winning its grand prize. Upon winning the contest, he requested that Sword Art Online get the same treatment that Excel World would be receiving, and thus both were printed as a manga. An anime adaptation of Sword Art Online was later produced by Aniplex, with A1 Pictures as the animating team behind the adaptation, and was broadcast in its original Japanese dub from July to December 2012. Between the events of the first two seasons, a year-end special titled Sword Art Online Extra Edition was broadcast on New Year's Eve 2012, and gave the viewers the chance to see what had happened to the main group of characters in the anime, where we find ourselves with a pair of subplots trying to hog the spotlight. Kazuto discussing the events of Sword Art Online with a suit, and some of the lead female characters trying to teach Kazuto's sister to swim. If you've seen the show, you'll know why I've used the term sister very loosely. Season 2 of SAO, lazily titled Sword Art Online 2. How original of you, Aniplex. How fucking original. Saw its broadcast again between July and December, this time in 2014. In early 2017, SAO's first cinema experience, Sword Art Online the Movie, Ordinal Scale, was released to cinemas in the UK. I was lucky enough to book a ticket for the advanced UK screening on April the 19th, and was personally surprised by the lack of seating in the auditorium, as every seat had been booked. Shit you not. I personally found the film okay for what it was, with the film even getting roaring fits of laughter from the viewing crowd. Shit, even I laughed, so Kawahara definitely did something right. And yes, even Aniplex is stealing the whole post-credits trope, using it as a hint to hint at the third season of SAO. Oh, joy! And on that sarcastic note, and that fucked up line for that matter, it's time to move on to number 4. Number 4. Right. Again, I'm being honest. This is where the shit gets flung sideways in the most colossal of ways. As I previously mentioned, compiling this list was a difficult task, but deciding which ecchi harem comedy anime to put in the top 3 wasn't an easy task either. However, after several headaches and many a coin flip later, I can confirm that third place on the list goes to... a red-headed devil with big bouncing jugs? Oi, who's been tampering with my script? Anyways, at number 4, it's High School DXD. High School DXD started as a light novel, having been penned by Ichie Ishibumi with illustrations by Miami Zero, and was first featured in Fujimi Shobo's Dragon magazine in the September 2008 edition. A manga adaptation followed in the July 2010 edition of the same magazine, and later published in Monthly Dragon Age as of March 2011. Fast forward to January the 6th, 2012, and the first episode of an anime adaptation was broadcast. To date, High School DxD has 3 anime seasons, with a 4th in the works at the time of recording. High School DxD is about a high schooler named Issei Hyoto, a down-on-his-luck bum who fantasizes about one day having a harem. Having been killed by a fallen angel in the form of a one-hit wonder girlfriend, Issei suddenly finds himself hanging out with the students of the Occult Research Club. There are, however, a few catches. The first being that Issei has now been brought back from the dead, as a devil, to serve as a pawn on the club leader's not-so-metaphoric chess table. The second catch is that the Occult Research Club isn't researching the occult. They are the occult. The third and final catch is that he now has a whacking big bullseye on his back due to possessing the spirit of the Welsh Dragon Emperor in his left arm. Wales! Wales! Sorry. Now, if this all sounds a bit batshit crazy to you, then you have every right to be confused. For someone who's never watched an anime before, High School DxD might be a bit of a tricky anime to follow. But hey, there's always Konosuba. Next. Number 3. Let me ask you all something real quick. Do you like cats? Do you like girls wearing tight-fit jumpsuits? Do you enjoy cat-related puns? If you answered yes to at least 2 of those questions, then you're definitely going to enjoy our number 3 entry, Cat Planet Cuties. Ah yes, Cat Planet Cuties, or How I Became a Furry, the animation. This anime is littered with cat jokes, smoking hot girls, and enough pussy to keep lost paws happy for days, in every sense of the term. Cat Planet Cuties started life as a 20-volume light series published... Let me try this again. Edit. Cat Planet Cuties started life as a 20-volume light novel series penned by Okina Kamino with illustrations by Hoden Aizo and Nishiida under Media Factory's MF Bunko J label between October the 25th, 2003 and February the 25th, 2015. The light novels later got serialized by AAA Publishing for a manga that featured in the seinen manga magazine Monthly Comic Alive from the August 2006 edition, with an anime adaptation following from July the 10th to September the 25th, 2010. An OVA later followed on June the 15th, 2011. The anime is about a Catian named Ares, who travels to Earth to study its populace, only for some wires to get crossed, resulting in her meeting our male protagonist, Kyo Kakazu, and even moving in with him. You know, as you do. What follows are 12 episodes of adult humour, even more Catians in tight-fit jumpsuits, and even a rival race called the Dog Eaters. I swear I'm not making any of this up. There's even one scene where Ares tells Kyo that she researched the magazines he hides under his bed, and even tells him that she's approaching her first heat cycle. Yep, because every harem anime needs to have a character that gets horny just as they're getting acquainted with other characters. Mind you, sex with a cat lady. If you'll excuse me, I have some priorities I need to rearrange. Number 2. At number 2, we find an absolutely incredible slice-of-life anime, which is devilish in both its characters and their motives, but not necessarily their everyday lives. If you've ever wanted to see Satan flipping burgers at a knockoff McDonald's, then have I got the anime for you. At number 2, it's The Devil is a Part-Timer. Answer me this, someone. Aside from it being a plot point, how depressing is it to see an animated character get a job faster than a person in the real world? The answer? Just a bit. The Devil is a Part-Timer originated as a light novel series penned by Satoshi Wakahara and featured illustrations by Oniku. Since February 2011, 18 volumes had been published by, you guessed it, ASC2 Media Works, or is that ASCII Media Works? Whatever. Since then, the light novels have gotten adapted into a pair of manga series, both published by Dengeki Daio and Dengeki Moa respectively. During the months of April to June 2013, an anime adaptation was broadcast, with White Fox providing the animation. At the time of recording, and I nearly shit myself in excitement at this while researching, a release for a potential second season has been in discussion. I can hear the hype train now. This is all well and good, I hear you say, but what is the anime about? The anime follows a war fought between Saido Mao, a demon king, and the hero Emilia Justina of Entei Isla. Having been confronted by Emilia, Saido and one of his generals, Shiro Ashaya, travel to modern-day Japan to try and escape her. Easier said than done, apparently, as Emilia follows suit in an attempt to end their war. What follows is Saido working at his local MG Ronald restaurant. Shiro remaining at the one-room apartment that both he and Saido live in to maintain it, and Emilia getting position in a telecoms office. So, selling shit over the phone. Rather her than me, to be honest. I've done that sort of work, and it isn't fun in the slightest. Further down the line, we get introduced to a fallen angel named Hanzo, who I could have sworn blind was a girl upon seeing the character model for the first time. What follows, however, is an incredible anime with lots of laughs, spectacular animation, and enough attempted hits on Saido by Emilia that even Agent 47 would be displeased. Overall, I can't recommend this anime enough. If you haven't seen it yet, then what the fuck have you been doing with your life? To exaggerate further, I didn't know who I was before I watched this anime. And what I've found after is that I'm a jobless 20-something that spends his time watching Japanese animation and... Ah, fuck. That's not the high note I was going for. Now, before we discuss my number one guilty pleasure anime, let's quickly recap on the list so far. At number 10 with a fresh ammo pack, it's Gunslinger Girl. Ruby's looking pretty at number 9. Sitting at number 8, she's telling you to thresh your wheat, it's Spice and Wolf. Spraying its ink at the competition, it's Squid Girl at number 7. In at number 6, looking very lazy and sugary sweet, it's Panty Stocking with Garter Belt. Failing to log out at number 5 is Sword Art Online, with High School DXD bouncing voluptuously in number 4. In the number 3 spot, and high as a kite on catnip, it's Cat Planet Cuties. And at number 2, hurry up with that order, Satan, it's The Devil is a Part-Timer. Now, before I get to the nitty and the gritty of explaining my number 1 choice, I would like to discuss a runner-up to this list, or an honourable mention, call it what you want. Not featuring this anime in the top 10 was a real hard decision, but I think this deserves to be on any otaku's top 10 guilty pleasure anime. And the award for honourable mention goes to... Rosario Vampire, ladies and gentlemen. Honourable mention. At our honourable mention spot is an anime that I saw the trailer for whilst in college, only to have a friend of mine question my morals for me. In at our honourable mention place, it's Rosario Vampire. Rosario Vampire started as a manga back in 2004 and was both written and illustrated by Akihisa Hideka. The manga found itself serialised in Monthly Shonen Jump and saw its run from the August 2004 edition to the June 2007 edition, with an epilogue chapter being published in the September 2007 edition of the same magazine. A second season of the manga, titled Rosario Vampire 2, saw its first chapter published in the November 2007 edition of Jump Square, with the final chapter being published in the March 2014 edition of the same magazine, with an epilogue chapter again following a month later. A 13-episode anime adaptation found its way to screens in Japan during the months of January and March 2008, with Season 2, titled Rosario Vampire Kapu 2, airing between October and December of that year. Fuck me, they didn't mess about with this one. The licensing for this anime was later acquired by Funimation, who oversaw the release of the English dub of both seasons to DVD on December the 20th, 2011. The manga and anime focuses on Tsukune Aono, a down-on-his-luck junior high graduate who fails his transfer exams to pass up to high school. After his dad picks up a piece of paper dropped by a cloaked figure in a hole in an alleyway, as you do, he applies for a position at Yokai Academy, a school run for monsters by monsters. Of course, Tsukune thinks he mishears this at first, only to find that he hadn't misheard, and this is where it gets awkward. Well, for Tsukune at least. While at the academy, he befriends a roster of girls, go figure, including Mocha Akashiya, a vampire that gets addicted to the taste of Tsukune's blood, a succubus named Kurumu Kurano, who wishes to have Tsukune wrapped around her finger, a witch named Yukari Sendo, an 11-year-old that managed to bullshit her way into Yokai Academy due to her grades, and, personally, my favourite character of this band of misfits, Mizure Shirayuki, a snow fairy who is traditionally seen with a lollipop in her mouth. Insert obvious sex joke here! Jokes aside, Mizure is best Rosario Vampire waifu. Fight me, bro. At the end of the day, when all is said and done, Rosario Vampire is an absolutely incredible anime that needs to be watched. It's got great characters, a fantastic level of comedic timing, and a real decent voice cast. But now, ladies and gentlemen, it's the moment of truth. Which anime will top the list as my personal best guilty pleasure anime? I mean, it's more than safe to say that there have been some decent anime on this list. But now, it's time to reveal all. Number 1. In at number 1, we find another war. But this time, it's a war that started in the 1980s. And in my case, I'm not talking about the Transformers. I'm talking about a massive rivalry, with 4 platforms butting heads to rule supreme. At number 1, it's Hyperdimension Neptunia the animation. Yes. Yes. Oh my good god, yes! How can this anime have not topped this list? This anime is the crowning glory of guilty pleasure anime. However, before I lose myself to this anime once again, let's have a look at the history of this franchise. Hyperdimension Neptunia the animation gets its origins from a video game franchise of the same name. The first game, simply titled Hyperdimension Neptunia, was released for the Sony PlayStation 3 in 2010 by Compile Heart and Idea Factory, with 5PB Records providing the game's soundtrack. The game follows the adventures of Neptune, a ditzy klutz and ruler of Planeptune. During the opening few minutes of the game, we find Neptune in her CPU form, now CPU Purple Heart, fighting against 3 other CPUs. Noir, aka CPU Blackheart, the ruler of Lastation, Blon, aka CPU Whiteheart, the ruler of the Wii, and Vert, aka CPU Greenheart, the ruler of Leanbox. Having been kicked out of the CPU-exclusive land of Celestia, Neptune crashes to Earth and now suffers from amnesia. With a pair of new friends in tow in the form of Compa and IF, and eventually gaining the trust of the other 3 CPUs, the race is now on to free a tome called Histoire and to defeat the game's lead antagonist, R4. Hyperdimension Neptunia the animation follows in the footsteps of the 2 sequel games, Hyperdimension Neptunia Mark II and Hyperdimension Neptunia Victory, and is loosely based on those 2 games. In the anime, the 4 CPUs are no longer at war, and have signed a peace treaty. Following this, and for the rest of the season, the 4 lead characters, as well as their younger sisters, get thrown into a mixture of events including getting captured by R4, stopping a perverted lizard thingy from having its way with Blonde's sisters, going to an island named R18 Island, briefly going to war against a newly formed country being ruled over by a brainwashed CPU, and finally defeating the CPU of a country long forgotten, depressingly called Tari. That's the name of the country, not the name of the CPU, by the way. The anime was broadcast originally from July the 12th to September the 27th, 2013, with an OVA following suit on March the 26th, 2014, and the anime was received with mixed reviews. Several reviewers criticised the anime for its melodrama, but simultaneously praised it for its originality and in-jokes relating to the gaming industry. The franchise has an incredible array of characters, and for some, it could be hard to pick a favourite. Speaking of characters, the main CPUs and their sisters, known as CPU candidates, are all based off game consoles. Starting with Neptune, who was based off the cancelled Sega Neptune game console, with her sister, Nepgear, being based off of a fictitious Sega handheld console. Crikey, can you imagine that? I don't want to. Anyways. Noir, the CPU of Lastation, was based off the Sony PlayStation 3, with her sister, Uni, being based off of the Sony PlayStation Vita. Blonde, the CPU of the Wii, is based off of the Nintendo Wii, with her sisters, Rom and Ram, representing the Nintendo DS. Vert, however, was based off Microsoft's Xbox 360, and as a result, depressingly lacks a sister. That doesn't stop her from seducing Nepgear from time to time, however. To sum it up, Hyperdimension Neptunia the animation is an anime that you shouldn't really watch, but with its unique-ish art style, comedic characters, and the antics that said characters get roped into, you can't help but fall in love with it. To put it into perspective, Hyperdimension Neptunia the animation is like chocolate. You know you really shouldn't, but you can't help but indulge yourself in it. Seriously, go and watch this anime. You'll either love it or hate it. But I seriously cannot recommend this anime enough. Also, brief spoiler warning, if you do decide to watch it, get ready for feels at the end of episode 10. I wasn't, and I was a blubbering mess from it. So, there we have it, guys. Not only have you sat through my top 10 guilty pleasure anime, but you have also survived, listened to episode 1 of the Speedy Stuff Podcast. Thank you all very much for listening. I really honestly do appreciate the support. I really honestly do. I can't thank you all enough for it. If you want me to discuss your topic on the next instalment of the show, please do feel free to drop me an email at speedystuffpodcast@gmail.com. Link will be in the description. Who knows, you might even get a shout out and an invite to join me on the show. But until episode 2, thank you all so much for your time and your support, and a good day to you all.